of the things that you focus on a lot in your work is on this, cultivating this experience of awe and wonder.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you just wrote a new book about this called Awestruck.
Yeah.
How could we harness this experience and feeling during times of crisis, anxiety, worry, and fear of the future?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think like with so many of these positive psychological principles, I think when you look at them from afar, they can almost seem out of place in a time like this, almost like a luxury item of the mind. And yet, you know, to my way of thinking and just reflecting as we've all gone through this collectively, you know, I think there's no more important time to cultivate these states of mind, to cultivate these types of experiences than during a time like this. You know, this is what gives us the fuel and the strength and that foundation to be at our best. And, you know, with awe and wonder, they definitely are not traditionally what you would think of as part of the therapeutic repertoire. But as I've done a lot of research for Awestruck and in my writing, what I've come to realize is all of the things that we as clinicians want to do right by with our clients, you know, reducing their stress, helping them feel more connected, increasing their sense of compassion for themselves and other people, enhancing positive emotions, even improving their health. These are all practices, that flow from awe, that you can get those benefits and then a whole lot more. But during a pandemic, you know, we're definitely challenged. We can't necessarily just, you know, go to a place that might instill a sense of awe when we are on, you know, quarantine, when we're on social isolation. So I think we have to be a little bit more creative. And yet I think part of my message in my writing is that these opportunities for awe are really all around us. And the biggest mistake we make sometimes is assuming that they have to be these grand scale, you know, visit the Grand Canyon, hike up to the top of, you know, El Capitan in Yosemite. And really it's the small stuff that if we can remind ourselves that awe is inherent just in life around us, whether it's, you know, the sight of a sunrise or sunset, whether it's reading about inspiring people that are changing the world right now for the better. I mean, just as this crisis has shown some of the most, you know, fearful parts of our existence, it's also shown the best of humanity. And when we read about that and we expose ourselves to that, it uplifts us. It instills this sense of awe. You know, whether it's through learning things about the world or ourselves that expand our mind, that can be a great kind of avenue to facilitate a sense of awe. And even, I think, sort of on a more humble level, when we reflect on just the fact that, you know, this has been a reminder for so many of us of what we're now missing because of social isolation and distancing, the sense of connection, the sense of belonging, the sense of love that we feel for people, that, if you step back and think about it, is an awe-inspiring thing. So thinking about just how fortunate we are as humans to even have this thing that we now miss can be awe-inspiring. So it could be watching a performance. It could be gazing at a piece of art. It could be, you know, taking a small walk outside and just noticing the scenery. One of my messages is really that these experiences are all around us, and that the challenge is actually just helping ourselves and our clients to see that.
Mm-hmm. How does cultivating this experience of awe and wonder differ from just positive thinking?
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe that's probably a question some people may be asking right now.
Yeah,
so how does that differ from positive thinking?
It's a great question. You know, I think when we think about awe, for one thing, we're seeing some, you know, there's a couple of ingredients to it that, as you might say, one is that we see something that's vast. So we experience something that's kind of beyond our kind of immediate. So there's a scale to awe almost. So it's kind of, we can think of it as informally, this experience when we encounter something vast that changes our assumptions about ourselves or the world. So, you know, by definition, we're already thinking about something a little different than just positive thinking. I should also note that not all experiences of awe are positive. You know, there is this idea of threat-based awe, negative awe, which about 15% of the examples that people give are based on that. I think of it more as discovering the wonders of the world and the things that we normally take for granted, which are often positive, but it's not just about kind of convincing ourselves in a Pollyanna type way to just think happy, to think positive. It's more sort of recognizing that in the grand scheme of things, we're pretty small, and yet we're connected to something a lot bigger than us. And these moments of transcendence, these moments of wonder, I think are the most meaningful portals to that reality, that when we go through life with kind of blinders on and our head down, we sometimes forget.